The runway attendant's face turned pale when he realized who he'd just turned away from the private jet. Tessa Blake stood there with her boarding pass, watching as the man who'd told her the aircraft was reserved for a Fortune 500 CEO suddenly understood the magnitude of his mistake. What happened next would leave everyone speechless. But first, let me tell you how we got here. Before we carry on, please hit the subscribe button to make my day, and let me know where you are watching from in the comments. The morning sun cast long shadows across Hartsfield-Jackson's private aviation terminal as Tessa Blake adjusted the strap of her leather briefcase and approached the sleek Gulfstream G650 that, quote, gleamed like a silver arrow on the tarmac. At 42, she carried herself with the quiet confidence of someone who had earned every success through sheer determination and brilliant strategic thinking. Her tailored charcoal suit spoke of sophistication without ostentation, and her natural hair was styled in an elegant twist that framed her angular features. Today marked a pivotal moment in her career, one that would either secure her company's future or unravel everything she'd built over the past 15 years. Blake Industries had started in her grandmother's garage in South Atlanta, where young Tessa had watched her grandmother repair electronics with steady hands and infinite patience. That same precision now guided a technology empire worth $3 billion, specializing in sustainable aviation fuel and revolutionary aircraft design modifications. The jet waiting on the tarmac wasn't just transportation. It was her latest creation, retrofitted with her company's cutting-edge fuel efficiency systems and interior innovations that had caught the attention of NES, aerospace giants worldwide. As she approached the aircraft steps, a uniformed ground crew member stepped forward, clipboard in hand. His badge read, Marcus Chen, Ground Operations Supervisor, and his expression carried the practiced politeness of someone accustomed to dealing with wealthy passengers. "Excuse me, ma'am, but I'm afraid there's been some confusion. This aircraft is reserved for a Fortune 500 CEO who should be arriving shortly." Tessa paused, one hand resting on the rail of the boarding stairs. She'd encountered this scenario more times than she cared to count, in boardrooms, at conferences, and apparently now on private runways. The assumption that she couldn't possibly be the person everyone was waiting for had become an unfortunate constant in her professional life. "I believe you're referring to me," she said, calmly, reaching into her blazer pocket to retrieve her identification and boarding documents. "Tessa Blake, Blake Industries." Marcus glanced at the papers, then back at her face, his expression shifting from confusion to embarrassment as he cross-referenced the information on his tablet. I apologize, Ms. Blake. Your company did indicate that the CEO would be flying today, but we weren't provided with specific details about—" He trailed off, realizing that any explanation would only deepen his mortification. "About what the CEO might look like?" Tessa supplied with a slight smile that held no malice. She'd learned long ago that education worked better than anger in these situations. "It's quite all right, Marcus. These things happen more often than you might think." From inside the aircraft came the sound of movement, and moments later, a figure appeared in the doorway. Captain Rodriguez stepped into view, his crisp white uniform adorned with the gold braiding that indicated his senior status. At 55, he possessed the weathered confidence of someone who had logged over 20,000 flight hours across every continent. When his eyes met Tessa's, his entire demeanor transformed. His posture straightened, and his right hand moved instinctively to his cap in a gesture of respect that caught everyone on the tarmac by surprise. "Welcome aboard, Ms. Blake," he called down from the aircraft doorway, his voice carrying clearly across the morning air. "The jet's ready for you, just as you designed it." The words hung in the air, like a revelation. Marcus's eyes widened as the full implications of the captain's statement registered. This wasn't just any passenger boarding his aircraft. This was the architect of the very innovations that had transformed this particular jet into one of the most advanced private aircraft in the world. The fuel efficiency improvements, the noise reduction modifications, the revolutionary interior climate control system, all of it bore the fingerprint of Blake Industries' engineering genius. Captain Rodriguez descended the stairs with measured steps, his expression mixing professional respect with genuine admiration. "Ms. Blake, it's an honor to finally meet you in person. I've been flying for 30 years. And I can honestly say that the modifications your team implemented on this aircraft represent the most significant advancement in private aviation technology I've ever experienced." End quote. Tessa felt a warmth spread through her chest at the recognition. It wasn't just professional acknowledgement, it was validation from someone who understood the intricacies of flight at the most fundamental level. "Thank you, Captain Rodriguez. Your feedback during the testing phase was invaluable. How are the new navigation systems performing?" "Flawlessly," he replied, his eyes lighting up with enthusiasm. "The integration between your AI-assisted flight optimization software and the traditional navigation systems is seamless. We're seeing fuel efficiency improvements of 32% on long-haul flights, and the passenger comfort metrics are off the charts." As they spoke, a small crowd had begun to gather at a respectful distance. Other ground crew members, pilots from nearby aircraft, and even a few passengers from the main terminal had taken notice of the unusual scene unfolding on the tarmac. Word traveled quickly in the aviation community, and Tessa Blake's reputation preceded her in these circles. She was known not just as a successful business leader, but as an innovator who had revolutionized an industry through practical engineering solutions and sustainable thinking. "Ms. Blake," Marcus interjected, his earlier embarrassment now replaced by genuine curiosity. "If you don't mind me asking, how did you get into aviation technology? It's not exactly a field that attracts many." He paused, searching for the right words. "Young black women from Atlanta?" Tessa finished with a knowing smile. "You're absolutely right, Marcus. When I started this company 15 years ago, I was often the only person who looked like me in the room. But my grandmother taught me something important when I was young. She said that innovation doesn't care about your background, it only cares about your solutions." She gestured toward the aircraft behind them. "This jet represents 5 years of research and development, hundreds of test flights, and collaboration with some of the brightest minds in aerospace engineering. The team that built these modifications includes engineers from 12 different countries, representing every imaginable background and perspective. Diversity of thought drives innovation, and innovation drives progress." Captain Rodriguez nodded approvingly. "Speaking of innovation, Ms. Blake, I understand you have some exciting news to share during today's flight. The crew briefing mentioned that this trip isn't just transportation, it's the beginning of something significant for Blake Industries." Tessa's expression grew more serious, though excitement flickered in her dark eyes. "That's correct, Captain. We're flying to Chicago for the final presentation to Meridian Aerospace. If everything goes according to plan, Blake Industries will be announcing a partnership that will bring our sustainable aviation technology to commercial airlines worldwide." End quote. The significance of this statement wasn't lost on anyone present. Meridian Aerospace was one of the largest aircraft manufacturers in the world, responsible for building planes that carried millions of passengers annually. A partnership with them would mean that Tessa's innovations wouldn't just benefit wealthy private jet owners, they would impact the entire commercial aviation industry and contribute significantly to global environmental sustainability efforts. "That's incredible," Marcus said, his voice filled with genuine admiration. "My daughter is studying environmental engineering at Georgia Tech, and she's written several papers about sustainable aviation fuel. She'd be thrilled to know that technology developed right here in Atlanta might change how the entire world flies." Tessa reached into her briefcase and pulled out a business card, but not just any business card. This one was embedded with a small chip that contained detailed information about Blake Industries' educational outreach programs. "Give this to your daughter, Marcus. We offer internships and mentorship programs for engineering students, particularly those from underrepresented backgrounds. Innovation needs fresh perspectives, and students like your daughter represent the future of this industry." As they continued their conversation, the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting the gleaming aircraft in brilliant light. The Gulfstream G650 stood as more than just a mode of transportation. It was a testament to human ingenuity and the power of perseverance in the face of adversity. Every curve of its redesigned frame, every innovation hidden within its interior, represented countless hours of problem-solving and creative thinking. Captain Rodriguez checked his watch and straightened his uniform jacket. "Ms. Blake, We should begin our pre-flight procedures if we're going to maintain our scheduled departure time. The weather conditions are optimal for the flight to Chicago, and I'm eager to demonstrate some of the performance improvements we've been seeing with your latest software updates." "Of course," Tessa replied, extending her hand to Marcus. "Thank you for your professionalism, Marcus, and please don't hesitate to reach out if your daughter has any questions about our programs." As she shook his hand, Marcus looked directly into her eyes with an expression of sincere respect. "Ms. Blake, I owe you an apology for my assumptions earlier. In this business, we see a lot of important people come and go, but it's rare to meet someone who's not just successful, but genuinely working to make the world better. Thank you for that reminder." "We all make assumptions, Marcus," Tessa replied graciously. "The important thing is how we respond when we realize our mistakes. Your reaction today shows the kind of character that makes this industry better." As Tessa climbed the aircraft stairs, she could feel the weight of the moment settling around her. This wasn't just another business flight. It was the culmination of years of hard work, innovation, and determination to prove that success could come from anywhere and anyone. Each step up the stairway represented another barrier overcome, another stereotype challenged. Another door opened for those who would follow in her path. The interior of the aircraft showcased the elegant functionality that had become Blake Industries' signature. The cabin featured sustainable materials throughout, from the recycled carbon fiber panels to the bio-based leather seating that provided exceptional comfort while maintaining environmental responsibility. The lighting system automatically adjusted to reduce jet lag and improve passenger well-being, while the air filtration system eliminated 99% of airborne contaminants using technology originally developed for space exploration. Captain Rodriguez followed her aboard, his appreciation for the aircraft's innovations evident in every gesture. "Ms. Blake, before we begin taxi procedures, I wanted to show you the latest performance data from our flight computer systems. The integration of your AI optimization protocols with our existing avionics has produced results that frankly exceeded everyone's expectations." He led her to a display panel that showed real-time aircraft performance metrics, fuel consumption rates, engine efficiency measurements, and environmental impact calculations scrolled across the screen in a symphony of data that told the story of revolutionary advancement. On our last flight from Los Angeles to New York, we achieved a 35% reduction in fuel consumption compared to standard operations, while actually improving flight time by 12 minutes due to optimized routing algorithms. Tessa studied the data with the focused intensity of an engineer who understood every nuance of the information being presented. "The routing optimization is performing better than our modeling predicted," she observed, noting several specific metrics that exceeded design specifications. "Have you noticed any variations based on weather conditions, or air traffic density?" 10. "That's the remarkable thing," Rodriguez replied, pulling up additional screens of information. "The system adapts in real time to changing conditions. During a severe storm system over Texas last month, the AI algorithms automatically adjusted our flight path and engine parameters to maintain optimal efficiency while ensuring passenger comfort and safety. It was like having a co-pilot who never gets tired and processes information faster than humanly possible." As they discussed the technical details, the aircraft's other crew members completed their pre-flight preparations with the quiet efficiency of professionals who took pride in their work. The flight attendant, Sarah Chen, had been specifically chosen for this route because of her background in sustainable aviation research and her ability to articulate the environmental benefits of Blake Industries' innovations to interested passengers and industry representatives. "Ms. Blake," Sarah said as she approached them, "I've prepared the presentation materials you requested for the Meridian Aerospace meeting. The holographic display system is calibrated and ready, and I've loaded the latest environmental impact projections from your research team." "Thank you, Sarah," Tessa replied, noting the careful attention to detail that characterized everyone associated with this flight. "Have you had a chance to review the partnership proposal documents?" "I have," Sarah confirmed, her expression growing more animated as she discussed the project. "The potential impact is staggering. If Meridian implements your sustainable fuel technology across their entire commercial fleet, it could reduce global aviation emissions by 18% within 5 years. That's equivalent to taking millions of cars off the road permanently. The magnitude of the opportunity ahead of them settled over the cabin like a palpable presence. This wasn't just about business success or personal achievement. It was about fundamentally changing how humanity approached one of its most essential activities. Air travel connected the world, enabling commerce, relationships, and cultural exchange on a global scale. Making that connection more sustainable could literally help preserve the planet for future generations. Captain Rodriguez made his way to the cockpit, his movements free, confident, and purposeful. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're cleared for departure. Ms. Blake, if you'd like to take your seat, we'll be airborne in approximately 8 minutes." As the aircraft began to taxi toward the runway, Tessa settled into the custom-designed seat that perfectly exemplified her company's philosophy of sustainable luxury. The seat itself was a marvel of engineering, providing exceptional comfort while being constructed entirely from renewable and recycled materials. The armrest contained integrated controls for the cabin's personalized environment system, allowing passengers to adjust everything from lighting to airflow to entertainment options with simple gestures. Through the large oval windows, she watched the Atlanta skyline pass by as they moved toward takeoff position. The city that had shaped her childhood and provided the foundation for her success spread out below them, like a testament to possibility and progress. From her grandmother's small electronics repair shop in the heart of the city to the gleaming towers of modern Atlanta's business district, the view represented a journey of transformation that mirrored her own path, from curious child to industry leader. The engines spooled up with a sound that was noticeably quieter than traditional aircraft power plants, another result of Blake Industries' acoustic engineering innovations. The noise reduction technology didn't just improve the passenger experience. It also reduced the environmental impact of aircraft operations on communities near airports. Every aspect of the aircraft had been designed with multiple stakeholders in mind, from passengers to ground crews to the millions of people who lived and worked near aviation facilities. As they accelerated down the runway, Tessa felt the familiar excitement of takeoff combined with anticipation for the crucial meeting ahead. The sensation of leaving the ground never lost its magic. But today it carried additional significance. This flight represented the potential culmination of everything she had worked to achieve. The possibility of seeing her innovations implemented on a scale that could genuinely change the world. The aircraft lifted smoothly into the morning sky, its advanced flight control systems providing the kind of seamless experience that made flying feel almost effortless. Through her window, Tessa watched the ground fall away as they climbed toward their cruising altitude. The Georgia landscape spread out below them like a detailed map, showing the intricate patterns of human development interwoven with natural features that had remained unchanged for millennia. "Ms. Blake," Captain Rodriguez's voice came through the cabin intercom system. "We've reached our initial cruising altitude of 41,000 feet. Flight conditions are excellent, and we're tracking 12 minutes ahead of schedule, thanks to favorable winds and optimized routing. You should feel free to move about the cabin and begin your meeting preparations." Sarah approached with a tablet containing the latest updates from Blake Industries' Chicago office. "Ms. Blake, I just received a message from your advance team. The Meridian Aerospace executives have confirmed their attendance for this afternoon's presentation, including CEO Patricia Hawthorne and Chief Technology Officer Dr. James Morrison. They've also requested additional technical specifications regarding the commercial implementation timeline." Tessa accepted the tablet and scrolled through the information, her mind already shifting into presentation mode. Patricia Hawthorne was known throughout the aerospace industry as a visionary leader who had transformed Meridian from a regional aircraft manufacturer into a global powerhouse through strategic innovation and sustainable business practices. Earning her approval would be crucial not just for the partnership, but for legitimizing Blake Industries' technology in the broader commercial aviation market. "Sarah, please prepare the extended technical documentation package," Tessa instructed, her fingers moving quickly across the tablet screen as she made notes and adjustments to her presentation strategy. "Dr. Morrison is particularly interested in integration timelines and certification processes, so make sure we have detailed project management projections available." As the flight continued, Tessa found herself reflecting on the journey that had brought her to this moment. 15 years earlier, she had been a young engineer with big dreams and limited resources. Working out of her grandmother's garage while pursuing her master's degree in aerospace engineering. The early days of Blake Industries had been characterized by 18-hour workdays, ramen noodle dinners, and the constant challenge of convincing investors that a young woman from Atlanta could revolutionize an industry dominated by established corporations and traditional thinking. Her breakthrough had come through a combination of innovative thinking and practical problem-solving. While other companies focused on incremental improvements to existing technologies, Tessa had approached aviation efficiency from a completely different angle. Instead of just making engines more efficient, she had reimagined the entire ecosystem of flight operations. From fuel composition, to flight path optimization, to passenger comfort systems. The sustainable aviation fuel that Blake Industries had developed represented years of chemical engineering research, resulting in a bio-based fuel that reduced emissions by 40%, while actually improving engine performance. The navigation AI that Captain Rodriguez had praised so enthusiastically represented advances in machine learning and real-time data processing that had applications far beyond aviation. The cabin comfort innovations that passengers experienced as luxury were actually sophisticated environmental control systems that reduced energy consumption while improving health and well-being. Ms. Blake, Sarah said, interrupting her thoughts. We're beginning our descent into Chicago. The weather is clear, and we should be landing approximately 15 minutes early. Through the window, the Chicago skyline began to emerge from the haze of distance, its iconic architecture reaching toward the sky like monuments to human ambition and achievement. Lake Michigan stretched to the sucker horizon, its vast expanse of blue water providing a stunning backdrop for the bustling metropolis that housed some of America's most influential corporations. As they descended, Captain Rodriguez's voice filled the cabin once again. Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to share some final performance data from today's flight. Thanks to the Blake Industries efficiency systems, we've achieved a 38% reduction in fuel consumption compared to standard operations for this route. Additionally, our flight time was reduced by 18 minutes through optimized routing algorithms, and passenger comfort metrics indicate optimal cabin conditions throughout the journey. The significance of these numbers wasn't lost on anyone aboard the aircraft. Each percentage point of fuel efficiency translated to millions of dollars in savings for commercial airlines, while also representing substantial reductions in environmental impact. The time savings meant improved scheduling efficiency and better passenger experiences. The comfort improvements suggested that sustainable aviation could actually enhance, rather than compromise, the travel experience. As the aircraft touched down at Chicago's private aviation facility, with the gentle precision that characterized advanced landing systems, Tessa felt a mixture of satisfaction and anticipation. The flight itself had been a perfect demonstration of her company's capabilities, showcasing not just the technical specifications, but the real-world performance that would matter to commercial aviation partners. Ms. Blake, Captain Rodriguez said as he emerged from the cockpit. It's been an absolute privilege to demonstrate your aircraft systems today. I've flown some of the most advanced aircraft in the world, but nothing compares to the integration and performance we've achieved with your innovations. Thank you, Captain, Tessa replied, gathering her materials as the aircraft came to a complete stop. Your expertise and feedback have been invaluable in refining these systems. Pilots like you are the real key to making sustainable aviation a reality across the industry. As she prepared to disembark, Tessa looked around the cabin one more time, taking in the elegant functionality that represented years of dedicated work by her entire team. Every detail, from the sustainable materials to the advanced environmental controls, told the story of a company committed to changing the world through practical innovation and environmental responsibility. The door opened to reveal the Chicago skyline in all its afternoon glory, the sun casting long shadows across the tarmac, where several other private aircraft sat waiting for their next missions. A small delegation from Meridian Aerospace stood near a collection of black sedans, their professional attire and confident postures indicating the importance they placed on this meeting. Patricia Hawthorne stepped forward, as Tessa descended the aircraft stairs, her silver hair catching the sunlight and her expression conveying the kind of focused intelligence that had made her one of the most respected leaders in aerospace. At 62, she had spent 4 decades in the BI aviation industry, rising through the ranks of engineering and operations to lead one of the world's most influential aircraft manufacturers. "Ms. Blake," Patricia said, extending her hand with a firm grip that spoke of confidence and mutual respect. "Welcome to Chicago. I've been looking forward to this meeting ever since our preliminary discussions last month. Your reputation in sustainable aviation precedes you, and frankly, the industry needs the kind of innovative thinking that Blake Industries represents." "Thank you, Ms. Hawthorne," Tessa replied, matching the firm handshake with her own confident grip. "I'm excited to share what we've developed and explore how our technologies might integrate with Meridian's commercial operations." Dr. James Morrison stepped forward next, his tall frame and intense gaze suggesting the analytical mind that had earned him recognition as one of the foremost experts in aviation technology integration. "Ms. Blake, I've been reviewing the technical specifications your team provided, and I have to say, the performance metrics are impressive, particularly the real-time optimization algorithms. The potential applications for commercial aviation are significant." As they walked toward the waiting vehicles, Patricia gestured toward the aircraft they had just exited. "I understand that JET incorporates many of your latest innovations. Captain Rodriguez sent us preliminary performance data from today's flight, and the results are remarkable. 38% fuel efficiency improvement is the kind of advancement that could transform the entire industry." "That's correct," Tessa confirmed, her voice carrying the quiet confidence of someone who had repeatedly proven her capabilities. "But what's even more exciting is that these efficiency gains come with improved passenger comfort, reduced environmental impact, and lower operational costs. It's not about choosing between sustainability and performance. It's about achieving both simultaneously." The conversation continued as they settled into the luxury sedan for the short drive to Meridian Aerospace's headquarters. Through the tinted windows, Chicago's diverse neighborhoods passed by, each telling its own story of urban development and cultural heritage. The city's reputation as a transportation hub made it the perfect location for discussing the future of aviation technology and its potential impact on global mobility. "Ms. Blake," Dr. Morrison said as they navigated through downtown traffic, "one aspect of your technology that particularly interests me is the scalability factor. Commercial aviation operates on completely different parameters than private jets. We're talking about aircraft that fly multiple times per day, carry hundreds of passengers, and operate in complex air traffic environments. How confident are you that your innovations can perform effectively at that scale?" Tessa appreciated the directness of the question, recognizing it as the kind of practical concern that separated serious engineering discussions from superficial marketing presentations. "Dr. Morrison, that's exactly the right question to ask. We've spent the last 2 years specifically addressing scalability challenges through partnerships with regional airlines and extensive simulation modeling." She pulled out her tablet and displayed a series of complex charts and data visualizations. "Our pilot program with Continental Regional Airlines involved retrofitting 12 of their Boeing 737s with our fuel efficiency and navigation systems. Over 6 months of operations, we documented consistent performance improvements across varied route structures, passenger loads, and weather conditions." Patricia leaned forward to examine the data more closely, her experienced eye quickly identifying the key performance indicators that mattered most for commercial operations. "These maintenance interval extensions are particularly impressive," she observed, noting specific metrics that showed reduced wear on critical engine components. Longer maintenance intervals translate directly to improved aircraft utilization and reduced operational costs. "Exactly," Tessa confirmed, switching to a different data set that showed environmental impact calculations. "But the environmental benefits are equally compelling. If implemented across a major airline's entire fleet, our technologies could reduce carbon emissions by up to 45% while improving operational efficiency. That's not just good for the environment, it's good for business." As their vehicle pulled into the Meridian Aerospace complex, the scale and sophistication of the operation became immediately apparent. The headquarters building rose 30 stories into the Chicago sky, its glass facade reflecting the afternoon sun while housing thousands of engineers, designers, and aviation professionals who collectively represented some of the most advanced aerospace expertise in the world. The lobby featured dramatic displays of aircraft models spanning the company's 50-year history, from early regional jets to the latest wide-body aircraft that connected continents and cultures across the globe. Interactive exhibits demonstrated various aspects of modern aviation technology, while large screens displayed real-time information about Meridian aircraft operating around the world at that very moment. "Ms. Blake," Patricia said as they approached a bank of elevators, "I want to be completely transparent about our timeline and expectations. Meridian is currently developing our next-generation commercial aircraft platform, which will enter service in 3 years. If we're going to integrate your technologies into that platform, we need to finalize partnership agreements within the next 6 months." The elevator carried them to the 40th floor, where Meridian's executive conference facilities provided panoramic views of Chicago and Lake Michigan. The conference room itself was a study in functional elegance, with advanced presentation technology seamlessly integrated into an environment designed to facilitate serious business discussions. Dr. Morrison took a seat at the polished conference table and opened his draft laptop, revealing additional technical questions and specifications that would need to be addressed during their discussion. "Ms. Blake, before we proceed with the formal presentation, I'd like to understand your company's production capacity and certification timeline. Meridian manufactures approximately 800 commercial aircraft annually, which would require substantial scaling of your production processes." Tessa appreciated the methodical approach to the discussion, recognizing that successful partnerships required thorough analysis of practical implementation challenges. "Dr. Morrison, we've anticipated this scaling requirement and have developed a distributed production model that leverages partnerships with certified aerospace suppliers worldwide." She activated the room's holographic display system, which projected 3-dimensional visualizations of manufacturing facilities and supply chain networks that spanned multiple continents. "Our sustainable fuel production facilities are already operational in North America, Europe, and Asia, with additional capacity coming online quarterly. The navigation software requires no physical production, being delivered through secure cloud-based systems that integrate with existing avionics platforms." Patricia studied the global production network with the analytical perspective of someone who understood the complexities of international aerospace manufacturing. The distributed model makes sense from both production capacity and risk management perspectives, she observed, noting the geographic diversity that would provide operational resilience. "What about regulatory certification timelines for different international markets?" "We've been working closely with aviation authorities in 12 countries to streamline certification processes," Tessa replied, displaying regulatory approval timelines and requirements. "Our sustainable fuel has already received certification from the FAA, ASA, and Transport Canada, with additional approvals pending in Asia and South America. The navigation systems are undergoing final certification testing, with approval expected within 8 months. As the formal presentation began, Tessa found herself drawing upon every aspect of her experience and expertise to articulate not just the technical capabilities of her innovations, but their broader implications for the future of aviation. The holographic displays showed aircraft performance data, environmental impact projections, and economic analysis that demonstrated how sustainable aviation technology could simultaneously address environmental concerns and business objectives. The fundamental challenge facing commercial aviation, Tessa explained as 3-dimensional graphs illustrated global aviation growth projections, is balancing increasing demand for air travel with environmental responsibility and operational efficiency. Traditional approaches have focused on incremental improvements, but the scale of the challenge requires transformational solutions. Dr. Morrison leaned forward as the presentation shifted to detailed technical specifications, his engineering background evident in the precision of his questions and observations. "The integration architecture you've developed is elegant," he commented, studying the way Blake Industries systems interfaced with existing aircraft components. Minimal modification requirements would significantly reduce implementation costs and certification timelines. That was a primary design objective, Tessa confirmed, manipulating the holographic display to show specific integration points and modification requirements. We recognized that revolutionary performance improvements would be meaningless if they required complete aircraft redesigns or extensive recertification processes. Patricia stood and walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows that provided stunning views of the Chicago skyline and Lake Michigan beyond. Ms. Blake, I've been in this industry for 40 years, and I've seen countless presentations promising to revolutionize aviation. Most of them focus on theoretical improvements or technologies that sound impressive, though proven practical for real-world implementation. She turned back to face the conference table, her expression reflecting the kind of serious consideration that preceded major business decisions. What you've presented today is different. You're not just describing what could be possible, you're demonstrating what you've already achieved and showing us a clear path to commercial implementation. The afternoon sun cast long shadows across the conference room as the discussion continued, covering everything from technical specifications to regulatory requirements to financial projections. Each aspect of the potential partnership was analyzed with the thoroughness that characterized Major B. Aerospace business decisions, where the stakes involved not just financial success, but the safety and satisfaction of millions of passengers worldwide. Ms. Blake, Dr. Morrison said as he reviewed his notes from the presentation, there's one final area I'd like to explore. Your company has achieved remarkable success in sustainable aviation technology, but partnering with Meridian would require scaling your operations by several orders of magnitude. How do you plan to maintain the innovative culture and quality standards that have driven your success while growing to meet commercial aviation requirements? Tessa had anticipated this question, recognizing it as fundamental to any discussion about expanding from boutique innovation to mass-market implementation. Dr. Morrison, that's perhaps the most important question you could ask. Blake Industries has always operated on the principle that innovation comes from empowering talented people to solve complex problems. She gestured toward the holographic display, which now showed organizational charts and development processes that illustrated how her company maintained creativity and quality while scaling operations. Our distributed development model creates centers of excellence around the world, each focusing on specific aspects of sustainable aviation technology, while maintaining connection to our core innovation principles. Patricia rejoined the conversation from her position near the windows, her tone indicating that the discussion was moving toward conclusion and decision. Ms. Blake, this has been one of the most impressive presentations I've attended in recent years. Your technology, your business model, and your vision for the future of aviation align perfectly with Meridian's strategic objectives. She returned to her seat at the conference table, her expression conveying the focused intensity of someone preparing to make a significant commitment. I'm prepared to move forward with formal partnership negotiations, contingent on successful completion of our technical due diligence process and agreement on implementation timelines. Dr. Morrison nodded his agreement, closing his laptop with the satisfied expression of someone whose technical concerns had been thoroughly addressed. Ms. Blake, I'll be honest, I entered this meeting with considerable skepticism about whether any single company could deliver the kind of comprehensive improvements you claimed. You've not only demonstrated that it's possible, you've shown us how to implement it practically and profitably. As the meeting concluded, Tessa felt the satisfaction of a goal achieved through preparation, expertise, and genuine innovation. The partnership with Meridian Aerospace would represent not just a business success, but validation of her vision for sustainable aviation and proof that environmental responsibility and commercial success could advance together. Ms. Blake, Patricia said, as they prepared to leave the conference room. There's one more thing I want to mention. Your success story, from starting in your grandmother's garage to potentially partnering with one of the world's largest aerospace companies, sends an important message about possibility and innovation in our STAV industry. She gestured toward the expansive view of Chicago beyond the conference room windows. Aviation has always been about connecting people and possibilities, breaking down barriers, and enabling progress. Your company embodies those same principles. not just in your technology, but in your approach to business and leadership. As they rode the elevator down to the lobby, Tessa reflected on the journey that had brought her to this moment. From her grandmother's electronics repair shop, to private jet innovations, to potential partnership with a global aerospace leader, each step had built upon the previous one while opening new possibilities for the future. The late afternoon sun cast a golden glow across the Meridian Aerospace lobby as they walked toward the main entrance. Passing displays of aircraft that represented decades of innovation and progress in aviation technology. The models showed the evolution of flight, from early jet aircraft to modern wide-body planes that could carry hundreds of passengers across oceans and continents with remarkable efficiency and safety. Ms. Blake, Dr. Morrison said as they approached the building exit, "I want to personally thank you for the quality of your presentation and the depth of your technical documentation. It's rare to encounter a company that combines visionary thinking with practical implementation capability." As they stepped outside into the Chicago afternoon, Patricia extended her hand for a final handshake that would mark the beginning of what promised to be a transformational partnership. "Ms. Blake, I'll have our legal and technical teams reach out to your organization within 48 hours to begin formal partnership discussions. I believe we're looking at an opportunity to genuinely change the future of commercial aviation." "Thank you, Ms. Hawthorne," Tessa replied, accepting the handshake with the confidence of someone who had successfully navigated another challenging business milestone. "I look forward to working together to make sustainable aviation a reality for passengers around the world." As the Meridian Aerospace delegation departed, Tessa stood for a moment in front of the company's headquarters, taking in the significance of what had just transpired. The partnership discussions would require months of detailed negotiations and technical integration planning. But the foundation had been established for a collaboration that could genuinely transform how the world approached air travel. Sarah approached from the waiting sedan, her expression reflecting anticipation about the outcome of the crucial meeting. "Ms. Blake, how did the presentation go?" "The entire Blake Industries team is eager to hear about Meridian's response." "Better than we hoped, Sarah," Tessa replied, her voice carrying the satisfaction of a complex challenge successfully met. Patricia Hawthorne and Dr. Morrison were impressed with our technology and our SEPRA implementation plan. We'll be entering formal partnership negotiations within the next few days. As they settled into the sedan for the return trip to the airport, Tessa felt the deep satisfaction of seeing her vision validated by industry leaders who understood both the technical complexities and business implications of sustainable aviation technology. The partnership with Meridian would provide the platform needed to implement her innovations at a scale that could genuinely impact global environmental sustainability while proving that business success and environmental responsibility could advance together. The drive through Chicago's diverse neighborhoods provided time for reflection on the day's achievements and the challenges that lay ahead. Commercial aviation operated in a complex environment of safety, regulations, economic pressures, and passenger expectations that required any new technology to perform flawlessly under varied conditions while delivering measurable improvements in multiple areas simultaneously. "Ms. Blake," Sarah said as they approached the private aviation terminal, "I've already begun preparing the materials for tomorrow's board meeting. The partnership opportunity with Meridian will require significant expansion of our production capabilities and technical teams." "You're absolutely right, Sarah," Tessa confirmed, her mind already shifting to the operational challenges and opportunities that would accompany successful partnership negotiations. "We'll need to expand our engineering teams, establish additional testing facilities, and develop training programs for commercial aviation implementation." As their sedan pulled onto the tarmac where the Blake Industries aircraft waited for their return flight, the late afternoon sun cast the sleek jet in warm golden light that highlighted every curve and innovation of the aircraft's modified design. Captain Rodriguez stood near the boarding stairs, his uniform crisp despite the long day, and his expression conveyed the professional satisfaction of someone who had witnessed an important milestone in aviation history. "Ms. Blake," he called as she approached the aircraft. "I trust the meeting with Meridian went well. The entire crew is excited to hear about the potential partnership." "Very well indeed, Captain," Tessa replied, pausing at the base of the stairs to look back at the Chicago skyline one more time. If negotiations proceed as expected, aircraft incorporating Blake Industries technology will be carrying passengers around the world within 3 years. As they boarded the aircraft for the return journey to Atlanta, Tessa found herself viewing the cabin innovations with fresh perspective. What had begun as experimental modifications to improve efficiency and passenger comfort now represented the foundation for technologies that could transform commercial aviation on a global scale. Every sustainable material, every energy-efficient system, every comfort enhancement told the story of innovation driven by purpose rather than mere profit. The takeoff from Chicago was as smooth as their morning departure from Atlanta, but the return flight carried additional significance as a bridge between achievement and future possibility. Through the aircraft windows, the Midwest landscape spread out below them like a detailed map of agricultural abundance and industrial capability, representing the kind of practical American innovation that had always driven progress in aviation and technology. "Ms. Blake," Sarah said as they reached cruising altitude, "I've been coordinating with our Atlanta office during the meeting. The engineering team has completed additional testing on the commercial-scale navigation algorithms, and the results continue to exceed performance projections." Tessa accepted the tablet containing the latest test data, her engineer's mind immediately focusing on the technical details that would be crucial for successful partnership implementation. The performance metrics showed consistent improvement across varied operational parameters, suggesting that the technologies would maintain their advantages even under the demanding conditions of commercial aviation operations. "These efficiency improvements at commercial scale are remarkable," she observed, studying data that showed fuel consumption reductions and flight time optimizations across different aircraft types and route structures. "Dr. Morrison will be particularly interested in these results when we begin detailed technical discussions." Captain Rodriguez's voice came through the cabin intercom system with an announcement that perfectly captured the significance of the day's events. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're currently cruising at 42,000 feet on our return flight to Atlanta. I wanted to share that today's flight performance has been exceptional, with fuel efficiency improvements of 41% compared to standard operations and flight time reduced by 22 minutes through optimized routing." He paused for a moment before continuing with obvious enthusiasm in his voice. "More importantly, we've had the privilege of transporting technology and vision that may soon be implemented across commercial aviation worldwide. It's an honor to be part of advancing sustainable aviation for the benefit of passengers and the environment globally." As the sun began to set over the landscape below, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and purples that reflected off the aircraft's polished surfaces, Tessa found herself thinking about her grandmother and the lessons that had shaped her approach to business and innovation. The elderly woman who had patiently taught a young girl to repair electronics with precision and care would have been proud to see how those early lessons had evolved into technologies that could benefit millions of people around the world. "Ms. Blake," Sarah said, interrupting her thoughts, "I've received confirmation from our Atlanta office that the board of directors will convene tomorrow morning for a special session to discuss the Meridian Partnership opportunity. The preliminary legal and financial analysis should be ready for review by 8 a.m. "Excellent," Tessa replied, already mentally preparing for the complex discussions that would be required to structure a partnership of this magnitude and importance. "Make sure the technical team leaders are available for the meeting. The board will want detailed analysis of production scaling requirements and timeline projections." The flight continued through the evening sky as they traveled southeast toward Atlanta, the aircraft's advanced navigation systems automatically adjusting their route to take advantage of favorable winds and avoid areas of turbulence. The real-time optimization that had impressed Captain Rodriguez and Dr. Morrison continued to function seamlessly, demonstrating the kind of reliable performance that would be essential for commercial aviation implementation. As they began their descent into Atlanta airspace, the familiar lights of the city spread out below them like a constellation of possibilities and achievements. The skyline that had served as backdrop for Tessa's childhood dreams now represented the foundation for innovations that could change how the world approached transportation and environmental responsibility. "Ms. Blake, Captain Rodriguez announced as they prepared for landing. Atlanta Approach Control has cleared us for a direct approach to the private aviation terminal. Ground conditions are excellent, and we'll be on the ground in approximately 12 minutes. The landing at Hartsfield-Jackson was as smooth and precise as every other aspect of the day's flights. The advanced systems working in perfect harmony to deliver the kind of passenger experience that made aviation seem effortless despite its underlying complexity. As the aircraft taxied toward their parking position, Tessa could see several other private jets on the tarmac, representing the kind of high-level business activity that drove innovation and progress in aviation technology. Marcus Chen was waiting near the terminal, building as they disembarked, his expression conveying genuine interest in the outcome of their Chicago mission. The morning's misunderstanding seemed like a distant memory, replaced by mutual respect and shared appreciation for the significance of Blake Industries' achievements. "Ms. Blake," he said as she descended the aircraft stairs. "Welcome back to Atlanta. I hope your meeting in Chicago was successful. The entire ground crew has been following your company's progress, and we're all excited about the potential partnership with Meridian Aerospace." "Thank you, Marcus," Tessa replied, noting how the day's events had transformed their relationship from awkward misunderstanding to genuine professional respect. "The meeting exceeded our expectations, and we'll likely be seeing much more activity as we move forward with partnership negotiations." As they walked toward the terminal building, Marcus gestured toward the aircraft that had just transported them back from Chicago. "Ms. Blake, I wanted to mention that several other aviation companies have been asking about Blake Industries' technologies. Word travels quickly in this industry, and your innovations are generating significant interest." "That's encouraging to hear," Tessa responded, recognizing the value of industry recognition from multiple sources. Innovation works best when it spreads throughout an industry rather than remaining isolated in individual companies. Captain Rodriguez joined them as they reached the terminal entrance, his flight bag slung over his shoulder, and his expression reflecting the satisfaction of another successful demonstration of advanced aviation technology. "Ms. Blake, it's been an absolute pleasure flying your aircraft systems today. The performance improvements continue to amaze me, and I'm honored to have been part of demonstrating their capabilities to Meridian Aerospace." "Captain Rodriguez, your expertise and professionalism made today's flights perfect demonstrations of what our technology can achieve," Tessa replied, shaking his hand with genuine appreciation. "Pilots like you are essential partners in making sustainable aviation a reality." As she gathered her materials and prepared to leave the terminal, Tessa reflected on the remarkable journey that had unfolded over the course of a single day. From the morning's misunderstanding about aircraft reservations to the afternoon's successful partnership presentation, the day had encapsulated many of the challenges and opportunities that characterized her experience as a leader in the aviation industry. The drive back to Blake Industries headquarters through Atlanta's evening traffic provided time to process the significance of the day's achievements and plan for the intense period of partnership negotiations and business costs expansion that lay ahead. The partnership with Meridian Aerospace would require careful coordination between technical teams, legal departments, financial analysts, and production specialists to ensure successful implementation of sustainable aviation technology at commercial scale. Sarah, who had remained characteristically organized and efficient throughout the day's activities, reviewed the schedule of meetings and preparations that would be required over the coming weeks. "Ms. Blake, I've coordinated with the department heads to ensure everyone understands the timeline and requirements for the Meridian partnership. The engineering team is particularly excited about the opportunity to see their innovations implemented across commercial aviation." End quote. "As they should be," Tessa replied, feeling proud of the talented team that had made the day's success possible. This partnership represents validation of years of dedicated work and proof that sustainable aviation technology can compete successfully in the commercial marketplace. As they arrived at Blake Industries headquarters, the building's lights reflected the company's continued activity despite the late hour. The success of the Chicago meeting had energized the entire organization, with teams working to prepare for the expanded operations and new challenges that would accompany partnership with one of the world's largest aerospace manufacturers. Tessa paused in the lobby to examine the display case that contained models and photographs documenting Blake Industries' evolution from garage startup to industry leader. The timeline showed her grandmother's original electronics repair shop, early prototype aircraft modifications, breakthrough innovations in sustainable fuel technology, and now, the potential partnership that could bring their technologies to commercial aviation worldwide. "Ms. Blake," said Dr. Eleanor Rodriguez, Blake Industries' Chief Technology Officer, who had been waiting in the lobby for their return. "Congratulations on the successful presentation to Meridian. The entire technical team is eager to begin the detailed engineering discussions that will be required for commercial implementation." "Thank you, Elena." Elena?" Tessa replied, appreciating the dedication of her technical teams, who understood both the opportunities and challenges ahead. Dr. Morrison from Meridian was particularly impressed with our integration architecture and scalability planning. "Your team's preparation made all the difference." As they rode the elevator to the executive floor, Dr. Rodriguez shared additional technical developments that had occurred during their absence in Chicago. The sustainable fuel production facility in Texas has achieved full operational capacity ahead of schedule, and our European partners have confirmed readiness to begin commercial-scale production within 6 months. The executive conference room on the 20th floor provided panoramic views of Atlanta's skyline, the city lights stretching to the horizon like a testament to human innovation and achievement. As the core leadership team gathered for an impromptu debriefing session, Tessa felt the satisfaction of seeing her vision validated by industry leaders and her team energized by the possibilities ahead. "Everyone," she began, addressing the assembled group of engineers, business development specialists, and operational leaders who had contributed to the day's success. "Today we achieved something remarkable. Meridian Aerospace has agreed to enter formal partnership negotiations that could bring Blake Industries technology to commercial aviation worldwide." The room erupted in applause and expressions of excitement as team members who had devoted years to developing sustainable aviation technology learned that their work would soon impact millions of passengers around the Samurai globe. The significance of the achievement extended beyond business success to include validation of their commitment to environmental responsibility and proof that innovation could drive both profit and purpose. Simultaneously, Dr. Rodriguez stood to address the group, her voice carrying the enthusiasm of an engineer who had seen theoretical concepts become practical reality. "The partnership with Meridian represents everything we've worked toward since Blake Industries was founded. Our sustainable fuel technology, navigation, optimization systems, and passenger comfort innovations will now be implemented at a scale that can genuinely change how the world approaches aviation." End quote. As the evening debriefing session continued, teams discussed the operational changes and expansions that would be required to support partnership with Meridian Aerospace. Production facilities would need to be expanded, engineering teams would require additional specialists, and quality control processes would need to be scaled to meet commercial aviation standards. "The next 6 months will be crucial," Tessa explained, outlining the timeline and milestones that would guide partnership negotiations and implementation planning. "We need to demonstrate not just technical capability, but operational readiness to support Meridian's production schedules and quality requirements." Sarah distributed detailed project timelines and responsibility assignments that would coordinate the various aspects of partnership preparation across all departments of Blake Industries. The complexity of integrating sustainable aviation technology into commercial aircraft production required careful coordination between multiple teams and external partners. As the meeting concluded and team members departed to begin preparation for the challenges ahead, Tessa remained in the conference room, looking out at the Atlanta skyline and reflecting on the remarkable transformation that had occurred over the course of a single day. The morning's flight to Chicago had carried hopes and possibilities, while the evening's return journey had brought confirmation of success and validation of years of dedicated work. The partnership with Meridian Aerospace represented more than just business achievement. It embodied proof that sustainable innovation could compete successfully in demanding commercial markets while delivering benefits for customers, companies, and the environment simultaneously. The technologies that had begun as experimental modifications in her grandmother's garage would soon be implemented across aircraft that carried millions of passengers annually. As she gathered her materials and prepared to leave the office, Tessa felt the deep satisfaction of having successfully navigated another crucial milestone in Blake Industries' evolution. The partnership negotiations ahead would require intense focus and careful coordination, but the foundation had been established for collaboration that could genuinely transform commercial aviation. The drive home through Atlanta's quiet streets provided time for personal reflection on the journey that had brought her from curious child in her grandmother's electronics shop to industry leader whose innovations could impact global transportation. Each challenge overcome, each barrier broken, each stereotype challenged, had contributed to creating opportunities not just for herself, but for others who would follow similar paths of innovation and determination. At her home in the hills overlooking Atlanta, Tessa stood on her balcony looking out at the city lights that represented thousands of individual stories of ambition, achievement, and possibility. Somewhere among those lights were future innovators, entrepreneurs, and leaders who would build upon the foundation she and others had established, creating technologies and solutions that could address challenges not yet imagined. The success of the day, from the morning's flight demonstration, to the afternoon's partnership presentation, to the evening's team celebration, represented validation of her belief that innovation driven by purpose could achieve both commercial success and social benefit. The partnership with Meridian Aerospace would provide the platform needed to implement sustainable aviation technology at a scale that could genuinely impact global environmental sustainability. As she prepared for sleep, Tessa felt the quiet satisfaction of goals achieved and challenges successfully met. Tomorrow would bring new opportunities and obstacles as partnership negotiations began in earnest. But tonight she could appreciate the significance of having transformed experimental technologies into commercial reality through persistence, expertise, and unwavering commitment to excellence. The story of the day, from the runway attendant's initial confusion to the pilot's respectful salute to the successful partnership presentation, captured the ongoing transformation of the aviation industry and the expanding opportunities for innovation driven by diverse perspectives and sustainable thinking. Blake Industries had proven that environmental responsibility and commercial success could advance together, setting the stage for a future where aviation technology served both passenger needs and planetary health. The partnership with Meridian Aerospace would mark the beginning of a new chapter in sustainable aviation, one that could genuinely change how the world approached air travel, while demonstrating that innovation and purpose could drive transformational success in even the most established and demanding industries. As Atlanta slept around her, Tessa Blake prepared to lead that transformation with the confidence of someone who had consistently proven that determination and excellence could overcome any obstacle and achieve any goal.